Good morning. Today is the final day that I will be doing a devotion, this year at least, with this Christmas tree behind me. We will begin to put away Christmas decorations and prepare for a new year. And the cycle will start over. We'll have birthday parties, we'll have Easter, we'll have tons of things to celebrate until, again, we culminate the year with Christmas a year from now. And the question is how do we go about as Christians celebrating? How do we go about as Christians living in this world where people use celebration, where people use food and drink for evil purposes? Paul's dealing with this very thing in the book of 1 Corinthians. And he summarizes this by telling them that there really is no God but one. So what pagans do with food or drink, or non-believers do, right, it really is of no consequence to him, because they can sacrifice to idols, but those are false gods. But in some sense, right, there can be these false gods who aren't true gods, but are demons and actually deceive people into doing things and practices and beliefs that are untrue. And so we shouldn't perpetuate that. We shouldn't join in with those people, because it would be to perpetuate a lie. We don't say, well, we'll celebrate this pagan festival because, they're doing it to these pagan deities, but those aren't true deities, so no harm, no foul. No, we'll to say, hey, that's not the one true God. That's a false God, and we're not going to partake. But the key here is not to get so caught up that we say, hey, did a pagan make this sandwich? Was this meat here? Was it made by a Christian? Because ultimately he's saying, look, you're not to concern yourself with every little thing like that, because what pagans do, right, is really of no consequence to you. Of course, we're not to carry in the revelry, but we don't have to think through every little thing like that to worry if the shoes I'm wearing were made by Christians. And I think it really could be summarized like this in 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 31. Paul says, "Therefore, whether you eat or drink or whatever you do it all for the glory of God." He goes on to say, "Give no offense either to Jews or to Greeks or to the church of God, just as I also please all men in all things, not seeking my own profit, but the profit of many, that they may be saved. Imitate me, just as I also imitate Christ." So for Paul, he wants to be an example, both to Jews, Greeks, and the church of God. So really you have three groups here. There's two groups that are unbelievers. The Jews, right, haven't yet accepted Christ as Messiah. The Greeks believe something totally different. And then the church of God. But he wants to be a witness to all those people and how he lives. And the crux of it, the key of how we do that is 31. "Therefore, whether we eat or whether we drink, do it all for the glory of God." So as you go about this next year, whether it be celebrating birthday parties or Easter or whatever it may be, let us do it for the purpose of glorifying God in our life, in our action, in our time. We'll see you next week. Happy New Year.